So we have a use case over here, which we're going to be sharing records based on criteria. So we just performed this prerequisites, and also if we have to delete previous sharing rules so that we can clearly demo how criteria-based sharing rule works. And currently, since OWD is set to private, our test user is not able to see the records that belong to other users. Currently in our org, the OWD for account is set up in a way that only users can only see their own records. But in this scenario, what I want to do is I want to share some specific records with our test user. For example, accounts that are from North region and whose source is web need to be shared with the test user's role. Okay. And in order to do that, we have to configure criteria-based sharing rules. So let me go to Salesforce and open accounts and see what we exactly want to do. I have a lot of records here. I don't want to share all of them. What I want to do is I want to share specific one of them. I want to share records that belong to, let me go back to that scenario. I want to share account records that are from North region and whose source is web, and that's what we're going to configure that sharing rule for. So what we have to do is we have to go to the sharing settings from the setup, go to sharing settings, and we have to go to scroll down, and we have here account sharing rules, and we will click new here, and I'm going to say share accounts based on region, and what was the other criteria? And source. So we have given the name to our sharing rule. And then here we have the sharing type that we're going to select. We're going to select the based on criteria because the question is asking us to share certain accounts based on this criteria. You see, it says North region and sources web. It doesn't say us share account records that belong to VP with Western sales manager role. It doesn't mention anything about that. So that's why we're going to be selecting the criteria-based sharing role. Okay, then we have to define our criteria. Basically, it's asking us what kind of accounts we want to share. Then we want to share those accounts whose region is equal to, let's select that value, and that is North. Okay, and also whose source is, account source is equal to web. All right. So, and if you click on this filter logic, by default, it's going to be selecting both with the and condition. It means that both conditions need to meet so that the record can be shared. Okay. And then we have this other question here. It's asking us, okay, you told me which account records needs to be shared. Now tell me with whom those account records needs to be shared. I can give the group, I can define the user's role and subordinates. So to start with the easier configuration, I'm going to go with roles option. Okay. And with which role I want to share that. In our scenario, I want to share it with my test user. That's the only user I have here. and I need to know what that user's role is. I know by heart that it is Western sales team, okay? If you don't know it, you can navigate to your test user and check that. Or in real project, you would check the user's role, okay? So that's how we share based on criteria, and we're defining with whom we are sharing it, and we're defining those users by their role. We have other two options. We're going to explore them in the next sessions. And then we have additional question here. It says, select the level of access for the users. Okay, default account and contract access. Select the level of access for the users. What kind of access we want to give to accounts? For example, we are sharing the accounts with them. What do we want them to do with those accounts? Do we want them to only see those account records? Or do we want them to see and plus be able to edit those account records that we're sharing with them? Let's go to our use case and see what kind of access it's asking us to give. It's asking us to set this to read write, and also opportunity access to read write, and case to be read only. So that's how we're going to define this. So we're going to make this opportunity access read write, and then this will be, we'll keep that to private. And then we're going to set this to read only and private, and also see how that impacts in the next sessions too. But for now, we're going to configure it as this, and then we'll click save here. Okay, the recalculation of sharing access will continue in the background, and you will receive an email notification upon completion. So Salesforce will send me to an email after this configuration is complete. And depending on the number of records we have, it may take more or less time. So it's already done for our org. Now remember previously, previously we were checking and the user did not have any access to account records besides the ones that he created himself. Now I'm going to do a refresher and see if he's able to see other accounts. So he is still seeing only one account. So don't let that confuse you. That's because we probably don't have a lot of accounts that whose region is north and source is web. So here, as an admin, I'm viewing all my accounts. I'm going to select fields to display, for example. I'm going to bring that region and source columns there too, so that we could clearly see how many records we have, account records we have, that meet our condition. You see? This is my account region, and this is my account source. I don't have any account here whose region is north and also whose source is web. That's why the user is not able to see the records. So if I set this account region to north and the source to web, then this account will be automatically shared with that user. So I'm going to go here and change that account region. For example, I'm going to change it to north, and account source. So we do have account region field here, but we don't have account source field on this layout. So what we will do is we will go to the Lightning page and add that field back to the page so that we can select it. Go to the field section and account source. We have done quite a lot of configurations before, and that's why it's missing from that particular page. So I'm gonna drag and drop this account source right here. Do that again, drag and drop. Now it is here. And then we're going to save this. And then we will navigate back. We will now set this to web and save. Now let's go back to our accounts. Let me set this to account region. It was set to north, right? Okay, let me set that to north and save. So currently from all the accounts that we have, only one of them is meeting that criteria. Now, if I go as a test user and do a refresh here, we will see that account is popping up here, you see? So again, to recall everything, OWD for account is set to private. And also our test user's role is lower than the admin user's role. But still, the test user is able to see this record that was created by the admin user because of that sharing rule that we just configured. It's called this criteria-based sharing rule because we're sharing only one particular account here whose region is north and source is web. So this is how the criteria-based sharing rule works. So when we were configuring that sharing rule, we gave this access to opportunities. We said give read-write access to opportunity and also give read-only access to cases. What does that mean? Now, if the account that was shared with the test user has opportunity, okay, it doesn't have any opportunity, but if it had an opportunity, the test user would be able to read and also edit that opportunity as well. So what I'm going to do here is for this account that is shared with the test user, I'm going to create an opportunity, okay? I'm going to create new opportunity. And select that particular account, populate this mandatory fields, and let's click save. All right. So because of that sharing settings, the user will still have access to edit this opportunity. Let's go and check that. So I'm going to go to the test user account and check it here. And that opportunity record popped up here as well. And if you click on it and go to details, and we should be able to update this opportunity record together with that account record as well. That's because when we were sharing that, we gave the test user access to edit it. But if that account has a case, then the user will not be able to edit the case, but the user will only be able to see that case. So similarly, I'm going to go and create a case, associate that with the account, and see what kind of access our test user gets. All right, so let's go ahead and save this. Okay, we have this validation rule, reason, type, subject, and description. So none of those fields can be blank. All of them are required. And now I'm going to go as a test user and check. So let me go to the accounts, access this account. The case is not here yet. All right. So what I have to do here is if the user does not have access to case, I need to check if the test user's profile has access to cases. Okay, so I'm going to go and check the test user's profile. object settings, and navigate to cases. You see, the user's profile doesn't have access to user's profile doesn't have access to cases. So again, this is another great example for us. If the profile doesn't have access, no matter what kind of sharing rules we configure, it will not work. So we have to make sure first the users have required access. Usually, not usually, but when you create or configure users, you first give them, create their profile and give them necessary access to their objects. Well, you set that once and you basically don't change that after that. Or you could do that with the permission sets also. Now, since the user's profile is now updated, I'm going to refresh this session, and case is still not here. Closed cases. All right, so I'm gonna do one more refresh. Okay, still not popping up. Let me make sure I have configured it correctly. So I have selected this account, which the test user has access to. This one. All right, opportunity access is there, case access is not there yet. Let me confirm the sharing settings for our account. Scrolling down. For account, this is the one that we gave. Oh, sorry, for cases, we set it to private. I was wrong. So we didn't necessarily do it based on this picture, so I set it to private. So because I set it to private, the user is not able to see that case. Yes, his profile has it, but profile doesn't determine necessarily what users can do with cases that belong to other users, you see. But if I go here and try to change this to read only, then the user will be able to see the case record. Okay, so we have to give it a minute. And going back to test user and refresh, and now case is here. All right, ignore this related list. That one shows only the closed cases. We have to look at here. If you close this case, if the admin or the owner of this case closes that, then it will pop up in the other related list. As a test user, I can open this record. I do see these pen icons, but if I actually try to edit this and save, then I get this error message popped up, because in that sharing setting, we said that the user should only be able to read, or read means view, case records that belong to other users. All right, that's how it works. So if I want our test user also to edit case record, then what I need to do is I need to edit this sharing rule and update this setting. Okay, let's update that to read write. We know that the test user's profile has write access or edit access. And once we set that for case in that sharing rule, our test user will be able to edit this case record. Previously, he was getting an error message. Now, if we try to update that, he shouldn't be getting that error message anymore. Okay, you see, he's now able to edit this case record as well. So this is how the sharing rule for that account is now configured. Let's refresh this. we are saying that whatever account record is shared with the test user, he is able to edit that account. If the account has opportunity related to it, we're allowing the test user to edit that opportunity as well. And if that account also has a case, we're also allowing the user to edit that case as well. And you can update these settings. For example, if I update this one to private and this one to private, okay, what will happen is the test user will not be able to see opportunity and the case that is related to the account anymore. Okay, so let's refresh this and we will go to our test users. For example, this is the case from the previous session, and that case access is removed. And if I open that account and I see 0 opportunity and I see 0 case, so that's how we configure it.